I'm here today with a review of Rebel Belle by Rachel Hawkins. The Booksplosion thing is they're having a live discussion. I'll link the link to the Goodreads down below in the About section. Every month they have a new book that they discuss and you can read along, and this was the book this month. I just really wanted to read this book before the live show chat on May 3rd, I believe, so this Saturday, and I just had to pick it up and I read it ASAP, and I already got a hardcover because the cover is gorgeous. And then not only is the cover gorgeous, when you take off the dust jacket, it is this beautiful like chocolate brown color, and then the writing on the spine is a rose gold color, and it's just really, really pretty. One of my favorite things about this book was the narration. It was very like she was talking to you the whole time. You weren't reading a book. The main character was telling you her story. So you may ask, what is this story? Tell me about this book in a non-spoilerly fashion. And so I will do just that. It takes place from the main character's point of view, Harper. Harper is, I think, in her junior year, if I remember correctly, of high school, and her biggest worry is that her lips are naked. She's the typical Southern belle, and I've lived in Texas for about 17 years and I still can't pull off a Southern accent. But she's from Atlanta and she's a Southern belle. So Harper's your typical or not so typical, depends how you look at it, popular girl. She's involved in so many different activities and everyone knows her name, and she's just involved in so much. And then she has the perfect boyfriend, Ryan, and you know, he's also popular and she lives this popular perfect life. Only to find out on the night of homecoming that it's not so perfect anymore. She goes into the bathroom to put on her lip gloss, and then all of a sudden her janitor busts in and locks the door, realizes that he's bleeding profusely from the stomach. Next thing you know, he kisses her. Weird, creepy, I know. And then another one of her teachers comes in with wielding this blade and trying to kill her. And all of a sudden these super ninja moves come into play, and yeah, she ends up being like this superhero person who didn't want these powers and now has to deal with it and figure out why. So that is going to be it for the non-spoilerly section. If you have read this book, stay tuned and I will talk about it in depth and in detail. If you are interested in this book, I will link the Goodreads page down below in the About section as well. So I'll see you later. Bye! One of my favorite things about Harper's voice is just the fact that she doesn't curse, and she's like, there's plenty of good, you know, euphemisms to use that you don't have to actually curse and you can still be a proper lady. And so I just liked how she was like, that's so effed up, but this time I used the real word. Or she rubs off on David and he, you know, says mother trucker instead of mother. Yeah. One of my first favorite scenes in the book is when she's like, oh, cool, awesome, I have superpowers. So what does she do? She goes on her fence, and like it's like a concrete fence, and she decides that I'm gonna try this out. So she does like handstands and flips off the fence, and she's like, this is so cool. And then she continues to watch like superhero movies. She's like, where's my Dr. X? He's supposed to be showing up. And you know, because I feel that, at least me, that's probably what I would have done. I would have been like, okay, cool, I have these powers, like, I'm awesome, and not really thought ahead to what those powers might mean. I just might have lived in the moment and been like, this is so cool. Harper's excuses throughout the books are just so bad. When she wants to go and hit David and she comes like a couple inches away from hitting his face, and she's just like, what is going on? I can't hit you. And so then she realized that she can slap Brandon, but she's like, maybe he kind of deserved that. He is not the most moral person ever. And she's like, I need an innocent bystander. So she is in a classroom, sees someone who like participates and does all these like churchy things, and so she throws her pen or pencil, I can't remember which one, onto the back of her head, and the teacher's just like, Harper, what is going on? I have lotion on my hands, and you know, I was just writing really hard that it just kind of That doesn't happen, Harper. That doesn't happen. Throughout the book, both Harper and David are so bad at these excuses, but they eventually kind of get a little better. And let's just for a second talk about the Harper, Ryan, David dynamic. Thank you, Rachel Hawkins, because at least for me, I felt that that was one of the most realistic love, I don't want to say love triangles because it never really felt like a love triangle. Sometimes I just feel like it's forced between like trying to make someone love each other, and I felt that the decline in love between Ryan and Harper was very realistic, as well as the increasing love between David and Harper. I don't know how she did it, but I'm glad she did it the way she did. Speaking of Ryan, it was also one of those things where he's a good guy. He's genuinely a good guy. And so as much as you're like, yes, Harper and David together forever, you're also like, but Ryan, like, I feel bad for Ryan. He's genuinely so sweet, and like, even though you can tell that there's kind of something happening between Mary Beth and Ryan, he still doesn't like come off as an asshole. It still seems that he really wants to make this work between him and Harper, and at the end when they finally break up, it wasn't like a big blowout fight. I think they both kind of realized that things have happened that they can't go back from, and that their love for each other has been declining, and that they've just been holding on. And I felt so bad. I didn't really feel bad for Harper. I felt bad for Ryan, because then she just went on to David like 2 minutes afterwards. So speaking of Ryan leads to Mary Beth. Mary Beth needs to take a chill pill and remember who her friends are. That's all I'm gonna say. And then there's B, who is such a great best friend to Harper. And it's one of those things to where sometimes the best friend girl dynamic isn't really played out very well in books, and like the best friend is either forgotten or they make new best friends. But I really like the fact that B and Harper were strong best friends throughout the whole book. My favorite scene with B had to be when Harper was like, I'm not going to Cotillion, and B's just like, we made a promise that we would go to Cotillion together, so if you're not going, I'm not going. You could tell that B really wanted to go, but for Harper, she was willing not to go, and that's just one of those things where it's just like, fills your heart with warmth and love, and you just love B. And then at the end, she's kidnapped by Blythe, and WTF, man, WTF. Now you're gonna have this dynamic in the next book where it's gonna be about getting B back, and B is going to be under like Blythe's mind control, and that's just not gonna be good. So I wonder where that's gonna go. I like the fact that this thing like isn't obvious. Like, I never would have pictured B being captured, and the whole bowl of punch and it being spiked. I don't know about you guys either, but I didn't expect that. I didn't see it. I didn't know about it. Everything about Cotillion was really like up in the air for me, and I like the fact that I couldn't guess what was actually going to happen. Oh, or that all the Cotillion girls, all of a sudden, because of David and Blythe turned him and woo, freaky powers, and that he turned all of the Cotillion girls into like super ninjas. I thought that was really cool. Blythe is really interesting to me in the fact of, we know that she's a bad character, but she doesn't really seem like a bad character, and like not someone that we would hate. So I'm interested to see if she turns into like this dimensional villain, or if the person that she reports to is going to be our main villain and the scarier version of whatever is going on. So at the end of this whole Cotillion thing, it leaves us where Harper and David go to find Sailor, and she's already dead, and Ryan's in the same room with her, and he's like, it's kind of awkward, and Harper's just like, she kissed you, right? And he's like, yeah. That's going to be really interesting, that now the whole mage and David and Harper, I'm not even going to try to pronounce what she is, but the protector thingy person, and that they're now going to have to work together, and it's going to be so awkward, but I think it'll be like a funny awkward, hopefully. So that is it for today. If you like my videos, you can subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on Goodreads, Tumblr, and Twitter. And I should have a lot more videos coming up because senior year, guys. The end of senior year, everything is due. And it's really hard to make videos. So until next time. Bye. One of my favorite things, Paige in the future editing this section is gonna go in the earlier part before the spoilers.